Hello Flosstube, my name is Kristen and this is a channel about cross stitch. This is my first monthly update, so I've been trying to figure out exactly how I should kind of work it, but I thought that maybe I would just show a little bit of, I just have a little bit of haul. I'm not somebody that's going to have a ton of haul from video to video, but I have a little bit. And then I would just show what progress I've made on the projects that I showed in the last video that I was going to work on for January. And then I'll just show you my plans for February. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is it's just a cute little project that I should just ban myself from Etsy because I just spend too much time sometimes on weekend mornings when the house is quiet, and I just scroll around and put things in my cart, and I don't know. So this is another alien chart, but it's a small, kind of cartoony, kind of fun one, and it's called Aliens Tracker by Stitch Fusion. And that is, if you haven't seen this, the second of the Alien movies, they hold this little tracker thing and it beeps and it shows the white dots that are supposed to be the aliens so they can try to stay away from them. And I just thought that was cute. So I bought what I needed for that, and for that I chose a Picture This Plus 18 count Shale. And I have another small piece of a similar fabric that I'll show later because I'm going to work on that project next month. It's okay, but the modeling's in weird spots again. I feel like it's kind of blotchy, and it's going to work though. So what I think I'm going to do is just orient it kind of this way so that that tracker ends up in the spot that's kind of plainish. And I thought that would take care of that. And the flosses are there's just 5 colors on that. I wanted something that looked kind of, I don't know, kind of dingy and drabbish. I don't know when I almost started that. We had some stuff going on this month. I needed some quick, happy stitching, which I'll get into later as I go along. And then I also got what I needed on my last video. I did the day after Christmas, and I showed a couple of gifts that I got. And one of those was Billia's The Kiss that my son got for me. And I have the fabric, and I have the fabric and the flosses all ready to show. And so I bought all the krennic and some beads. And when I looked online in the Facebook group and really blew up some of the completed projects, there's a lot of beads in her dress. And I had kind of a hard time with Midsummer Night's Fairy's wings, where it was really bead heavy. And I used 28 count, and it wasn't dyed. So I didn't think I would have a hard time, but I kind of did. And I used the Mill Hill beads, and I had to kind of fudge it a little bit and take some out. But I really enjoy watching Lori, the Sharky Stitcher, and I'll link her below for anybody that likes blingy stuff, beads, mirabilias. She does a lot of chatelaines and Bella Filipinas, and she talks a lot about swapping out Delicas for the Mill Hills. And so I thought that I would give that a try. And I actually reached out to her because I thought maybe she'd have a chart or some kind of a conversion guide. And she really went out of her way. Within hours, she had pulled similar Mill Hills and what she had for Delicas, and was really, really helpful. So I did go on to It's I'm totally blanking out on the name of the bead company. It's like Fire Mountain Gems, I believe. And I will link that below too in the description box. So I ended up getting 4 different Delicas. I'm not sure if these colors are going to show. But these were a medium and light-ish purple. And then I also got the pink and peachy color. And the pink actually matches up really nicely. I did get the Mill Hills for the pebble beads, so they're the bigger ones. So I think those are gonna work out really nice. I can't wait to try that. And then I got all the krennic still in the plastic bag, but think you can see the colors. It's kind of Victorian golds and coppers and peaches, and there's a periwinkle there. And then I got all the called for flosses, and the fabric was just like, I think it's called Apple Blossom. It's a pinkish. And then these are all the flosses that I got to. I think I have a couple of CXC in there, but most of them are DMC. I'm not sure if that pink of that fabric's showing up. But I just wanted it to look as close to this as I could get it. So I believe in here that's open space with no stitching. So I just wanted it to kind of look as close to that as I could. So I got the called for fabric on that one. And that's all I have. I have some fabric order I'm still waiting for from Chromatic Alchemy for some ink circles projects. And then I ordered a kit. I don't know if anybody else has ordered from Avid Stitching. I believe they're from Great Britain, maybe. And they do aviation projects. And I had reached out to them a while back to see if I could just get the chart, because I didn't really want to buy the kit. But they don't do just the chart. So I did finally just buy the kit. I don't know when that's coming. I know it's shipped already, but it's coming with just like white Aida. So I saw a sunflower printed fabric that looks like the sky with some wispy clouds, and I'm going to wait till I get all the flosses and stuff so I can see. So I probably will be hopefully having that to show you next. So when I did my last video, I chose like 5 projects to work on in January. And my whole plan, which of course you know how plans go, was to take like a week to dedicate to each of the kind of like bigger ones, and then work on the 2 smaller ones in 1 week. And I kind of stuck to that. I did work on everything, but I'll explain as I go. I didn't quite work out as I had planned. But the first one that I worked on was Alien. And I took a picture before I started. So hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to get so that's where I was when I started. And I forget how many stitches. I think I was 7.2% done on him. And so this is what I did in a week, which I got a lot more filled in here. And then I did a bunch on the side of his head, and I don't know what you call this part of his body, but I did a bunch in there too. And it's funny, when I pulled out the 4 projects, I chose them because I hadn't really worked on any of these 5 projects for a while. And then as I was working on them, I remembered why I hadn't worked on them for a while. And I like this one, and I'm gonna finish him, but I'm doing him in half cross. This is on 28 count lugana, and I don't totally love doing half cross, but I know you can. Some people will switch out and go back to go to full cross halfway through, but I'm just gonna stick with it. So I got a little bit. I think I got about 800 and something stitches done on him. So I got a good amount of work done on him. And then these next 2. This is, I finally got a picture of this one to show you guys. This was an Etsy find. It's the moon. And it really, it looks like the moon. It's got all the, whoopsie. It's got, I don't know if I can get that so you can see it. Very glary, sorry. It has all the nooks and crannies like it's supposed to. And I pulled it out. And once I started stitching on it, I remembered why I had put it away. And it's not the fabric's fault. I like the fabric. This is Abracadabra 28 count lugana from Ships Manor. And I love it. I mean, it's opalescent. I love the feel of it. It's just my first time trying to stitch 2/2. And I screwed up a lot. So there's a lot of mistakes. And it's frustrating to try to work around that, and at this point it's way too many mistakes to try to frog it out. And I just want to make sure it really looks like the moon and not just some, I don't know, blob. So I haven't decided if I might just scratch that whole project. I don't know. But Yes, I remembered why I had put that one away. And I thought that I was going to finish that one, and that within that same week I would then work on my Tardis Galaxy, which I then remembered why I also put that one away for a while. Oh, I don't think I have a picture of that one. Shoot. I don't think I have a picture of that one. And again, not the fabric's fault, but this is Davinci's 32 count opalescent lugana. And I did do a lot. I think I filled all this stuff in. It's just a 32 count dyed. I don't know what that shrinks to. And I was using a lot of CXC in this one, which is fluffier. And it's just a little bit of a struggle for me. It's really kind of tightish, and I made mistakes in this one too. But it's, I mean, no one's going to know. I mean, it's just kind of like, you know, those mottled colors. I mean, it's not like anybody's going to know, like the moon. If somebody looked at it, they're like, oh, well, that crater's in the wrong spot. But, you know, this one I'm definitely going to finish. I just have to do it in little chunks, because I do get a little frustrated with the size of that one. And then I worked on my Hobbit Door, which is this where I was at. Oop. When I started it. I hope you guys can see that. And this was one that I tried to do my first like thread conversion, because the original chart is all blacks and whites and grays. So I have switched to browns and tans. And I got a good chunk of the tree in, and then I did a bunch of the lines in the door. And I think I was working on that. I was working on that the week, as I mentioned in a previous video, that we have 2 dogs. And they're 2 Labrador retrievers. And they're wonderful, sweet, awesome dogs. And my black lab, a couple years ago, I'll make this short because you guys don't want to hear about life stuff, but she had torn both her cruciate ligaments in her knees. So we had one repaired. Long story short, we had to have the other one repaired. So that happened on the 12th. And I had been stitching the door, and the door I'm not using the paper. And I really am a Pattern Keeper fan, but I also bought Markup RXP because I heard you can download some chatelaines into that. Unfortunately, my tablet that I have it on doesn't have a lot of RAM, and I think that's the reason. But I couldn't use it for the chatelaine. So I've been trying to use it because I paid for it, and I got it early enough that I don't have to pay monthly. I think now it's changed, and it's more of a subscription than a one-time purchase. I'm not as good with that pattern app, so that's another reason why I hadn't worked on this one for a while, because I struggle with that. It doesn't always, even if I put the sensitivity really high, sometimes I have a hard time with it picking out all the same symbols. So, back to the dog. So that surgery is no joke. I don't know if any of you have had that experience. They're extremely limited in what they can do, and they can damage their screws and plates and things that they put in their knee if you're not really careful. So it was a lot of stress. The first couple weeks were pretty hard, and so I had just pulled out a different project for what I called like comfort stitching, because I just needed something that really made me happy and tried to counteract some of that stuff that was going on. And after I did my last video and I had showed all the stuff I had kitted up, I really wanted to start one of the memorabilia that I had. So that kind of like Twilight Zone week between like Christmas and New Year's, where I've got extra time off and everything's just still kind of like not settled back down, I started Lilith of Labrador, which is actually she's the first one that I ever picked. And I bought her chart and the fabric and the specialty flosses and the bead pack from Cross Stitch Boutique. And that was when it was really challenging for the dyers to get what they needed to dye the fabrics. And so I think there was like a 6-month wait. So in the meantime, I had bought Stargazer and Midsummer Night's Fairy and started those. So I didn't want to start her until I had finished at least one of those. And I showed you the finishes last time. So I started her, and then the week I brought the dog home from her surgery, I pulled her back out. So I got quite a bit done on her, actually. I have run into one little trouble spot with her. See if I can get her folded up so you can see her. So I did get quite a bit done. I got her whole torso and her head and her hair done, stitching wise. Obviously I haven't done any beads or anything yet, and no back stitching, and I got started on her tail. And it's even hard to see now, but you can kind of see the krennic is blending in with my fabric, and the fabric is Sweet Stash's Hyacinth 28 count linen. And if I make it, I'm going to open it up so you can really see. There's a lot of really pretty blues, and I think I showed this fabric last time. I cut it in half to do her, and then the other half I'm going to do, I have a Joan Elliott's Celestial Dragon that I'm going to do. And I'm hoping when I put in the beads, you'll be able to see that, but I'm not taking it out or changing it. It's fine. And I think for her too, I had decided, I don't know if I can get it close enough so you can see, I'm going to try to skip some of these really long, they look like bug antenna to me. So, not to be, I don't want to say anything not nice about the chart, because I love her work, but I'm just going to take those out and just, yeah, I think I'm just going to skip that and see how it goes. But and I've really been enjoying her. It's the first time I've used silks. There's a couple of, I think they're water lilies in there. And the water lilies on her torso don't look that variegated, but the ones in her tail definitely are. But she was just what I needed that first week. The dog was pretty challenging, and she made me happy. And so that was one I hadn't planned, but that was a new start since the last time I did my video. And then the last project that I had planned to work on, I did. This is my Stargate. This is the one that I've showed before. I've designed on Pick to Pat. And I think I mentioned when I brought it up in a previous video that I'm not stitching the black, and I dyed a piece of fabric. I am not a dyer. I like the way it turned out. I have to put something behind it, I think. And it was still on my Q-snap because I just took it off my frame. So I'm having a hard time with this because when I dyed, and I don't know if I did something wrong. I knew it was going to shrink, and I bought 28 count, and I probably should have bought a bigger count to start with. And I dyed it 3 times, and I don't know if it shrunk every single time, because I did like a plum first, and then a navy, and then a black, because I was trying to get it to be pretty dark. And the opalescence kind of messing me up a little bit too, because it's dark. I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely going to finish this area, and I'd like to get this chunk of that gate done so I can see, you know, the detail and the symbols and stuff. But there's so many color changes in this. I really only have the patience to work on it for a few days. I mean, in this little area, so I did this and a bunch in here. I do have the picture, but most of this I did over the last couple of days, and then there was a bunch. But I think I only did like 150 stitches maybe, and it took me forever. I think every like 3-4 stitches I'm changing colors, and I'm sure it'll be worth it in the end. I just have to do that one. I just have to do it in little, just like the Tardis. I have to do it in like little chunks, because it's and it's even with my Light magnifier, it's really hard for me to see. So I hope nobody ever tries to really magnify it, because it's hard for me to see the vertical and horizontal threads. So, you know, I'm trying to make it so it doesn't get weird and slip or anything. And they're not all great stitches. So that's the progress I made. Not kind of how I planned, but, you know, some life stuff just kind of threw me for a loop. Hopefully the next month will be a little smoother. So speaking of the next month, I'm going to show you what I have pulled out to do next month. And I went for things that I know that I'm really going to enjoy stitching because I had so much frustration this month. So one of them, so I picked a couple of full coverage and then some smaller ones. So one of the ones I'm going to work on is my Elemental Fire Dragon from Ink Circles. I can make that bigger so you can see it. And I do have, it's the fabric I'm waiting for from Chromatic Alchemy is for the air and water. I do have what I need for earth, but I'm going to try really hard not to start any of that until I finish the one that I'm working on. So I am, to show you where I'm at. And this fabric is, this was the other Picture This Plus that I didn't super love when I got it. This is 18 count Earthen. I don't think it matters which way it goes because it's the same all the way around. But this had just this huge, like, I don't know, really plain spot in the middle. But that's okay. And I'm using Weeks Dye Works brick for the floss. I think it calls for Gloriana's on all of these charts, but I think they're still having issues finding them. So I just decided to, and I've already bought the Weeks Dye Works. I picked one for every element already. And then this one I should be able to get done quickly. And then I'm going to try to pick maybe like a week at a time or close to a week at a time so I can get some progress done on things. This one I should be able to finish. I showed this one in an earlier video. This is The Weirs of Pern by, I think you pronounce it Shale Anderson. And I moved this symbol over and then just kind of so that they were symmetrical, and then I added a white dragon because there is one white dragon in the book series, just because I like symmetry. And then I took out the poem, mostly because I'm terrible at backstitching. So I got, and I haven't worked on this since I showed it in an earlier video, so I got all the symbols done. And then at the bottom, because I took out the poem, I decided I wanted to say The Weirs of Pern at the bottom. And I just kind of went through free fonts, and then I printed some 10 by 10 graph paper and tried to make my own Weirs of Pern. I don't think there's enough of the original chart here to worry about it. So the font's different. I'm not, and I know when I mentioned when I showed it before that I thought about frogging that out because, oh shoot, I just dropped that. I thought that maybe I should have put more space between the bottom row of symbols and the words. But I'm halfway done with the Weirs of Pern on the bottom, so I'm just going to finish that. So I kind of, this poor chart, I printed it and chopped it up and moved it around. So that's kind of what I did. I didn't get in trouble for showing anything I shouldn't. There. So I did the best I could. I haven't designed anything before, so I hope I have it centered and I hope that it looks okay. But as you can see, I don't have that much left. And this is 28 count linen, Picture This Plus Ancient, which I popped into there was a retreat that I didn't go to the retreat, but there's not a whole lot in my area. But there was, I think it was a retreat, and you could pay a little bit of money to just go through where they had some vendors and things. And I found that fabric and I thought it was cool. I got a bunch of it. I don't know what else I'm going to use it for, but so I should be able to. I'm thinking I can get that done, and then I'm going to work on the Elemental Dragon during that same week. And then I'm going to work on, and I have not worked on this since last February. February is my birth month, and this was my birthday start last year, and it is The Phantom of the Opera's Quick Stitch by Amy Stewart. And now that Pattern Keeper, you can start in the middle I think before they didn't used to have the little arrows, so it was harder to find the middle, and there's like a red dot in the middle now. I think if I start any other full coverage, I think I'm just going to start in the middle, because that's kind of where all the good stuff is. But usually I start on the top left, and I'm not sure why I started on the top right on this one. Because it's also where there's like a ton of the petite treasure braid, which is, just as challenging as Krennic to work with. And I don't know what I was thinking. I think I wanted to get to the chandelier first, I guess. So it's been a long time since I worked on that, so I'm definitely going to get that. I definitely want to work on that one for a week and get some good progress done on that one. And then the other full coverage that I chose to work on was my mini Day-Night by John Shannon. It's right there, John Shannon. And I think I showed this one in my first video when I showed all my whips. I have the sister chart too, which is night-day. And that's a mini as well. And I bought these before I read comments about how sometimes the minis kind of lose the detail, and this is the furthest I've gotten on any of the full coverage ones that I have. And I mean, you can definitely tell they're trees, and it's background anyway, so I mean, you can see it's getting a little clearer here, but I am working down. I'm trying to work down towards his face, because I want to see how, if it's all mottled and funky looking. I mean, I'd hate to not finish it because I've got a good amount of work done in it. But I'm getting impatient, so I started to try to just work my way down to, I think his face is right there. But I'd like to give that one a good week's worth of some loving as well. We'll see how this goes. And then the other one that I chose to work on is Teresa Wentzler's Princess and the Dragon, which I have in a book, so I gotta... That's the only... Well, it's not the only... I do have... My husband got me a kit for Christmas. That's another dragon. But I believe this one was designed for kind of like beginners, sort of. So I definitely wanted to get some good experience and work with this. There's tons of blends in here, and there are some beads and stuff on this one too. And I got his little dragon head done, or close to done. You can see the princess's arm, and I think that's up where the castle's going to be right there, and working on his face. I actually feel like I'm starting to get better at fractional stitches doing this one, which has helped when I did work on Lilith. I feel like I'm just getting better handle on that. When I did the face of Midnight Summer Fairy, I definitely didn't do it right, and I just feel a little bit more comfortable now, so I'm happy about that. So that's kind of my plans for February. Although I think I might start the Kiss as like a birthday start. And I feel like, even though it's not the end of January yet, I'm kind of tapping out on that Stargate. So I actually might, for the rest of the weekend, just work on that new Alien one. And not that I don't have a million other little projects that I could start, but I don't know. That one looks like it might be fun and kind of quick. So that's my plans for next month. And I did want to show you guys, so when I had done my first video and showed all my whips, I talked about this Middle Earth map that I had, and I had started, and it was gargantuan. And I did have a lovely subscriber that took it off my hands. So when I was trying to figure out a way to handle all that fabric, I had made this huge PVC piped, almost like a scroll frame, but not really. It was more like a gargantuan Q-snap. And I just kind of I had it in my Lowry, and I would rest it on something else, and I thought, I know people make lap stands out of PVC, and I have a ton of it. So I did make, is this like a 12 by 12 lap stand? And it was easy, and I had almost everything except I just needed to get these like little T-bar connectors. And these clips are, I did not find these at Lowe's. I think I got like the PVC pipes at the hardware store. And these clips I found on Amazon. I got a huge bag of them. I have to look and see if anybody cares. I'll try to look it up and see what they were called. But they fit over my Q snaps too. And they're a little bit looser, which I know doesn't sound like you would want that, but when I was doing Stargazer and Midsummer Night's Ferry, when I was, trying to move the project to do the beads, and I already had half beaded, the Q-snap clamps are really tight, and I wasn't sure if they would break or do anything to the beads. And with a little bit of felt, these are just loose enough that it still held everything tight enough to be able to work on it, but it wasn't so tight that it was going to crush anything. So, and the bag came with like a million of them. So I think I still have a lot of PVC pipe left because that project that I had made that other thing for was so huge that, it works pretty well. I had it out in the living room when the dog was first recovering for a couple of days. I have a Lowry, but it's just, I hate to just drag everything out in the living room. So this is just easy, and I think I'm going to take it when I visit my parents. I try to visit them one weekend a month, and I have some projects up there that I just leave up there. And I have a hoop. I don't really like the hoop, but I use it there because I try not to drag everything back and forth. But I might take this. I might even just leave it there, or I might make another one. I might make another one that's maybe not quite 12 by 12, because this Q-snap is my favorite one, and this is 11 by 11. And I like the size of this one. I know 1 inch doesn't sound like it makes a big difference, but this thing just feels a lot bigger to me than that. So I don't know. I might play and even do maybe like a 9-inch one. But there's a video. I can't remember the Flosstuber's name, and I will link it. I'll put a link in the description box. It was wicked easy. Yeah, so that's cool. I like that. And yeah, I think I covered everything. And if I didn't already say thank you to returning viewers, I thank you very much. And also welcome to anybody that was new. I want to make sure I say thank you because you guys have been awesome. And we'll see how February goes. Fingers crossed. No drama in my life would be great. And I can just work and stitch, and that would be awesome. So I hope you guys have a really good month, and we'll see you later.